What was the fail there? Why do you consider that a fail?
Being stuck in Nigeria.
For how long?
I was stuck there until the lockdown restrictions were over.
So what are we talking?
We're talking like 4 or 5 months without your family.
Not like a year. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I ended up now staying. But I mean, in everything that could possibly considered a failure, there's always like a bright side to it all. Like literally, as much as I could sit here and think of my failures easily.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, a lot of them, or fortunately rather, a lot of them have happy endings.
Yeah. So being stuck in Nigeria was the failure, but what came out of that was the silver lining.
Exactly.
702.
The upside of failure.
Sometimes failure is the foundation of greatest success stories.
It is 8 minutes after 2 on this Friday afternoon. A very good afternoon to you. If you've just joined us, I'm Uveka Rangappa. I'm in for Relebogile Mabotja today. And what a treat we have in store for us, because we have the company of a fabulous, beautiful, amazing young lady. And she's going to be with us for the next hour, because we've been blessed with the presence of Naledi Boltina, singer, songwriter, voiceover artist, actress and presenter. I have to take a deep breath after that, because there's so much that she does. And she's going to be with us for the upside of failure, and also in our Unplugged feature. So we get to hear the backstory. We get to hear all about the difficulties of getting to be the superstar that she is. And then we get to hear just the magic that she's made after all of that. So we get to talk about the failure, and then we get to talk about the success. And I want to say hi. Hi, Naledi Boltina, a.k.a. African Lion.
Oh, yes.
Welcome to 702. And I'm going to tell everyone just a little bit about you, okay? Sure. So, Naledi, or should I call you African Lion or Naledi? What do you prefer, or both, or whatever I feel like?
Whichever.
Okay, well, Naledi means star, for anybody who doesn't know, and she certainly is a star and absolutely living up to that name. Singer, songwriter, voiceover artist, actress, presenter, also a Y Academy or YFM graduate and former host of Morning Glory on YFM. Naledi majored in dramatic arts and music. She starred on Rockville, The Gift, The Lilies, Isibaya, Sugar, The River, The Queen, Bay TV, The Scar Radio, Redemption, and In Circles. And currently back in South Africa, just dropped a smash hit alternative gospel album titled Jonga, produced by multiple award-winning producer Jakes Tebe, Vince Lasol, and I'm going to say this right, is it Church the producer?
Church the producer.
Yes. And also on that album featuring Ifani and Moti, Naledi, popularly known for her Showmax adulting role as Nobuhle, which aired earlier this year. And you're shooting a new series as well. We're going to talk about all of that. But first, let's get into the upside of failure part of it. And that's not very, very easy to talk about. Yeah. But I first want to tell everyone, if they have a question for you, a comment they want to send through, 011-883-0702. That's where you can chat to Naledi, or African Lion. That's what you want to call her today. Or you can WhatsApp us or voice note us on 072-702-1702, or SMS us briefly on 31702. So, born and bred in the Eastern Cape.
Yes, ma'am.
You're an Afro soul artist. That's what you are.
Yes.
And like we said, everything else, that whole list of accolades that we gave about you. Let's talk about your 3 failures. And it's not an easy thing to talk about, so thank you. You know, talk about your what would you consider your 3 failures?
Well, I mean, there's a lot, as a person and as a human, we can only but make human error. I think one of my biggest failures, it was possibly my marriage. I got married when I was 25. I'm not going to reveal my age now.
It's okay. You're definitely younger than I am, so anything you say is fine here.
So I got married. We had a child, and that was a complete disaster. He was abusive. Like in all forms, And I feel like that was the biggest failure, because I think I skipped all the red flags. I didn't miss them. I just chose to skip them.
Yeah.
But fortunately for me, from that, I realized that now I don't downplay anything. And I'm very vocal. If I like something, I like it. If I don't, I don't. And by God's grace, God blessed me with, I don't want to say perfect partner, because I'm sure such doesn't exist. But he's really close to it in terms of everything. Conversation, understanding, patience, a lot of things. So there's always, I feel like sometimes when you are not at a place where God wants you to be, the worst happens in order for you to actually
To know
move
the
to
best,
where you're
yes?
supposed to.
Yes, you have to know the bad to know the good.
Of course, and
Yeah?
that's where God wants you, on your knees, because when you're on your knees, you can only but reach out to him for help.
So why do you consider the marriage, like you describe the partner as being abusive and everything else?
Definitely.
Why do you consider that your failure and not his failure?
I feel like it's something that I probably should have left before it even got there, you know, but I mean, my daughter came out of it. So I
yes.
think, that was the biggest blessing in all of that. But I feel like the signs were there, but because we like to hope and pray for the best, I stayed for almost 2 years. And I was like, no ways.
So you were married for 2 years?
Yeah.
But
got
together
married.
for how long?
We were together for 4.
Okay, and you never saw, or you did see the signs before marriage?
I saw the signs. Hence,
Okay.
I'm saying, but it wasn't until my daughter was actually, born where everything now started to play itself out. The little excuses, all those signs.
Yeah.
The signs we choose to ignore.
Yeah.
So all those signs were there. And then, other failures. My goodness.
Your businesses?
I know how many businesses I have started, I know how many businesses I even have now. Are they all going to work out? Only God knows. I've got a catering business. And before that, I used to sell scones, you know. It was my hobby, I started
You
off
bake
by
them?
baking.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to bake them and sell them. Obviously, I was a kid then. And what used to happen was my cousin, I have a cousin, he was my senior in school. So there was this other cousin of mine who used to bully me on the bus.
Huh?
Yeah, I know. So he used to bully me. So I now told my older cousin that, this is what happened. So he was like, no, from now onwards, it's fine. You can, I'm going to be
I'm
there.
your backstop.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
whenever you're going to get off on my stop and so on and so
Yeah,
forth.
yeah.
And at some point, I eventually started staying with my cousin and his family because of that. But when I was making my muffins, so he'd buy me stuff at the tuck shop. And then when he gets home and my muffins are ready to be put on sale, he'll say to me, this is how much you owe me. I'm like, but dude, you were doing those things as my big brother,
Yeah.
And he'd be like, no, now you need to pay up. So I used to make debts and pay them with my business.
But he taught you a lesson.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. I learned from that, For instance, now with my catering company, it's run by my mom.
Okay.
So we all know if your mom is somewhere working with you, then there's no nonsense there.
So said cousin is not involved in the business
He
anymore.
passed
Is he?
away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He passed
Okay,
away.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but yeah.
Okay, so what other business? I mean, you said you had a lot of businesses that do.
Even
Look, we're all
skincare.
trying. Everybody needs a
Skincare.
hustle, yeah?
Skincare.
Yeah.
I got interested in skincare. My daughter has eczema. So I started experimenting with different products. Even with me, I had bad acne and spots because I'm those people who like pimple popping.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay,
So
we've
if-
all been there.
If I see something on my face, I'm definitely going for it. I'm going to start, plucking into it
Yeah.
and things like that. So, so I wanted to find something that would help me remove my scars from the pimples.
How
and
old
the
were you
acne.
when you were doing all of this?
26.
Okay, so this was after.
This is
while
after,
you were
definitely.
married in that time.
So I mean, yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
towards the end, because I actually went and furthered the whole skin thing in the year 2020. I got locked down in Nigeria.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
That must have been interesting.
So COVID came and I was told this is the last flight out of South Africa, and I was like, COVID in Africa, what the hell? This is gonna blow
We can
over.
beat this, yeah.
Come on, 2 weeks we beat Ebola,
Yeah,
HIV.
yeah.
Come on, we know how to manage these things. And then the joke was on me. The joke was on me. As much as that may have been an epic fail on that part, but there was such a big blessing.
What was the fail there? Why do you consider that a
was
fail?
being stuck in Nigeria.
For how long?
I was stuck there until the lockdown restrictions were over.
So what are we talking?
We're talking
Like
4 or 5 months without your
Okay,
family.
not like a year. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I ended up now staying because more job opportunities came through.
Okay.
I started collaborating with artists in Nigeria. I got casted on a show called In Circles, so it was a series. And then I also got casted for a reality show in Nigeria called Celebrity Come Build. So all these things suddenly started, gravitating towards me. And then I remember meeting Yaba Baluku boys within that same Nigeria. And I was like, initially, I wanted to collaborate with them in terms of us make music together. But we met, I came to South Africa, and then I realized they don't have management, like what's happening? And I was like, you know what? I want to work with you guys. I want to get you guys to Nigeria, I think you'll be appreciated there. Like, people love your song there, And they were like, okay. But cut a long story short, the boys had a collaboration with Burna Boy.
Okay.
The song Yaba Buluku.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a smash hit. So I got to meet Burna Boy as well, and his team, of course. But I mean, in everything that could possibly considered a failure, there's always like a bright side to it all. Like, literally, as much as I could sit here and think of my failures easily.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, a lot of them, or fortunately rather, a lot of them have happy endings.
Yeah. So being stuck in Nigeria was the failure, but what came out of that was the silver lining.
Exactly.
There's always a lesson. There's always something.
Definitely.
Okay. All right. Well, you were also on Idols. We're going to chat about that one in just a moment. If you want to chat to Naledi or African Lion, 011-883-0702, 072-702-1702 is where you can voice note us or WhatsApp us a message for her, or SMS us briefly on 31702. We're talking to Naledi Boltina, singer, songwriter, voiceover artist, actress and presenter. You probably know her as African Lion. That is her. Is that your diva name?
It is. Well, I mean, alter ego. In fact, it's
alter ego. That's what I meant.
It's not even an alter ego per se. If I tell you the story behind this, there's a friend of mine. She always used to say, "Ooh, African queen." When you sing, you are an African. And I was like, "No, man." She's like, "Star," And I was like, "Okay." I'm like, "No, man. Call me a lion." She's like, "Lioness." I'm like, "Lioness is." It's so timid, like it's, you know. I was like, no. At this point in time, I was so aggressive. I'm like, I'm ready. I'm coming guns blazing. Give me, like, come on, give me better names. And I sat down and I thought about it, and I was like, African Lion.
Why can't you? You can be a lion.
Of course.
Yes.
And that's exactly why I loved the name, because a lot of people are like, but, okay, you're a woman, so one would imagine you'd want to be African Lioness. I'm like, nah. Because when people talk about me, I don't want them to talk about me and say Naledi Boltina, Tiwa Savage, Beyonce.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
I want them to be able to say Naledi Boltina, Burna Boy, Davido, Tiwa. I need to be able to stand next to any artist and still... be a reckonable,
and be
force.
fierce, and be a force. Well, and you can't have success without having those downsides, which is what we're talking about. And we're going to be talking about your successes because Naledi is our guest for Unplugged as well. We're going to be listening to her music as well. But first, she is kindly here talking about, just the failures that got her on this path to success, got her on this rainbow of success. And it takes a lot to talk about those. And I must say thank you again, because you spoke about your marriage. You spoke about being in a marriage and that was abusive, and but getting your beautiful daughter out of it. You spoke about the little businesses that you tried to start when you were younger, and that you're still trying to evolve those and get those going. You were also on Idols. What happened,
ma'am? Woo. Idols.
What didn't happen?
This one was so embarrassing. Like, I don't even talk about it because I didn't even make it to director's cut. I'm sorry. In fact, it's because it's the pre-auditions, and then there's the other audition, and then you get to meet the judges that we all love and know from the television,
which we
series.
think is the real trauma. That part,
So I think I'm not making it on TV. I remember going to those auditions, spending the whole day there, and then I sang, and then I got a call back, and then I went there again. I'm like, woo, I'm seeing those judges next. And then the next thing I'm seeing people again, like other people that I don't know. I'm like, what is going on? And then that was the end of it. I was like, wow, I was so disappointed that I never even spoke about it.
What year was this?
This was, I was like 18.
Yeah.
I was 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'd obviously had your singing talent recognized before that,
Dude, I was in the Eastern Cape Youth Choir.
Yeah.
And I mean, in in every show at school, I used to be, in the group. I used to be the solo singer.
You were the star.
I Stedford gold winner, so I was confident. I knew it, that I need to make it. I'm going to make it, and it was coming from a place of arrogance. It was coming from a place of wanting to prove a point, because it came from a place of brokenness. Because, I was raised by a stepdad, but of course I know that, so-and-so is my biological dad. But when I was 4 or 5, he just disappeared, no warning, no nothing. So for me, I think that was like traumatic. And I was like, I want you to see me on TV, and I want you to regret the day you ever left. So for me, that was the driving force, and of course, other people around me don't understand, why do you want this so badly? And even, with my family, my parents, when I say my parents, I'm talking about my mom and dad, that have raised me.
Yeah.
They didn't understand, because obviously there are some conversations that you can't have as a child, because
or you don't know how to have them.
You don't know how to have them. You understand what I mean? And I don't mean to stereotype, but in black families, a lot of things are swept under the carpet.
Oh, lots of families, trust me.
Right.
African, Indian families, lots of things swept under the carpet. We like to keep them. What will the neighbors say?
Exactly. Exactly. So for me, this was something that was driving me, inside and at the back of my head. And all this time when things were, when no one was inviting me to radio interviews or television shows and things like that, I was like, what am I doing wrong? So it gave me more motivation to work harder. But lo and behold, because God is such a graceful God, I found a father in heaven, which is why my album is alternative gospel. Because out of nowhere, I found myself preaching through music. I'm like,
you could speak your heart.
I'm like, what is happening? This was never the plan. I wanted to be out here, being a superstar.
The bling star. You wanted to be the bling one.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, I remember at the age of 13, I was told that my place is in ministry through music.
Who told you that?
I was told by my pastor. I grew up in church. I was part of the kids' music team. So, even in school, I've always, So she told me this, Pastor Summer. She said this to me and I was like, aye, this one must be crazy. Yes, I am a superstar. I'm going to be a superstar. But gospel, aye. Because I was like, this is just so much responsibility. And as I grew up, even, when I was in varsity, I was like, there's no way, that's so boring. Who wants to sing gospel?
Yeah.
And I'm expected to behave a certain way because I sing gospel. I'm expected to apparently dress a certain way.
The image has to
you understand?
Fit. Yeah.
But God said to me, you know what, child, come as you are. This is exactly how I want you. Because in everything, I swear to you, God has literally been opening each and every door for me.
So in your belief, and you're deeply spiritual, I can tell,
Yes.
and your belief in God, when we're talking about those failures, did you ever feel like God had abandoned you in all of those instances that we spoke of? Even
course.
whether it was the idols competition, whether it was the scone business, whether it was the marriage.
Definitely. I felt that a lot, which is why in Jonga it does say Benditi unlibele. So it says Benditi unlibele. Bendita usandithanda. So it means I thought you had forgotten me. I thought you no longer loved me. But it says ngomzuzu wokugqibela wenza odume ngazo, meaning at the last minute, at the last moment, you did what you're most famous for. I remember saying to myself, if by the age of 30 it doesn't work out. Initially I said if by the age of 25 it doesn't work out, I just need to just get a job. I remember my ex-husband also saying to me, you need to grow up, get a job. Even my family, they'd be like, no, get a job.
Give up this music thing.
Get a job.
What they wanted you to do.
You're a mom now.
Yeah.
You need to get something more stable. And of course, that was super hard.
Okay. All right. Well, I see we need a moment. You need a moment because you're going to make me cry as well. And yeah, it is. But you've come through it. Look where you are today. And we are chatting to Naledi Boltina. She's been our guest on The Upside of Failure. And she's going to stay with us because she's also our 702 Unplugged feature as well. And we just got a taste of that beautiful voice then. We're going to be hearing more of your music for the next half hour. But I want to hear more about that, about those backstories. We'll try and combine those two, okay? And see how those failures led to that success. So you take that moment, and I'm going to take my moment.
702.
The upside of failure.
Sometimes failure is the foundation of greatest success stories.